Today we are happy to speak with our testimonial Marius Ekwe. He is working with Bioversity International in Cameroon. Marius, you have been the project coordinator of GTTN Phase 1. What were the biggest challenges you were facing then?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, it's GTT, and I recall, when we started in November 2011, we had different meetings, with people and talking about the use of DNA to trace wood. It was like, it's like, which, from where are you coming from, It was something very new for many people. But after a lot of meetings, the kickoff meeting was in Malaysia. We had 3 regional workshops, one in Africa, Latin America, and also Southeast Asia. And with the development, people became more and more aware of the techniques, so it was quite good. But the challenges we faced was first with the steering committee of the project. It was a very big steering committee with 14 members, and both scientists, developing the tools, also from policy level. So there was a lot of conflict of interest, between the idea keeps changing all the time. And I noticed some change, like after the European timber regulation came into force in 2014. Some of the people involved, who were service provider, they suddenly start to get a lot of something to analyze. And we noticed like there are some change. I have the feeling that there were less willingness to share for the information they have, and just to keep it for themselves to develop a thing, because of course it was not cheap. I think they were making money from that. So those kind of challenges somehow slowed down a little bit the work. The networking and the communication issue also, it was quite good. All of the regional workshops, when we started GTTN, we were thinking only about DNA and the still isotopes. But with all of those workshops, we realized that it's very important to include wood anatomy. There was a demand coming from different partners, and we faced like a pushback, from some people dealing with the DNA or isotope techniques, because they believe, no, we shouldn't talk about these other techniques, but we should only focus on, genetic and isotopes, because wood anatomy is already well developed. But we believe it was really good, to put everything together. If it's possible with wood anatomy to answer the question why we should go to DNA, and waste more time and spend more money than have the very quick answer. So those are some of the challenge we face. Also the database also. It was not clear from the original projects. They were thinking, for the database, you can just have a kind of SL sheet, to develop the database. So the concept of the database evolved a lot. And with always a lot of disagreement about what we should do. First, we need to have all of the data, and the analysis should be done directly in the system online. And then at the end, it was no, we can't have the whole thing, only the metadata should be included. And then the other thing was who should have access to such information. People were suddenly putting some restriction, because they discovered that, why my research institute is working maybe with 10 species, and the other is dealing with only one species, so why they should have access to all of the raw data to provide services. So it became very controversial, So this issue of data sharing agreement, or who should benefit, I recall we elaborated almost 4 data sharing agreements, and at the end no one were willing really to sign it, because every time they always come out with again a new requirement and idea. So we have the feeling that they were not really interested to share the information, So those are some of the challenges we face. And also with fundraising, also the project was supported by Germany, which was great. So that's why we recommended also that is good for the other phase, to have other countries also involved, to have like a consortium. And I think it was quite good for the ministry to have like one or I don't know, some posts, to try to rally more people to, well, it's not exactly what I think they were expecting, but still Germany is still giving the core funding for the GTTN now, but at least it's evolving like the consortium, the WRI with the soil legality, they are focusing a lot on wood anatomy, so we find a way, to connect the two things, and I'm really, well, glad it's working out. I mean, basically I realized most of the recommendation we provided at the end of the first phase has been really taken, by the second phase. The first phase, like, I was the only staff of the project doing pretty much everything, the scientific work, the coordination, communication, everything. But now it's very glad, communication is separate, the standard by Nele and the coordination, so the database. So it was quite nice the way it's done now, and I'm glad.
Thank you very much for sharing your experiences, Marius. How would you suggest the Global Timber Tracking Network could overcome these challenges in its current phase?
To overcome those challenges, I think it's good to have first a small steering committee, with only people who have no conflict of interest, and really give to them real power, to make decisions. And the scientists developing the tools to have them in different working groups where they can discuss, technical things, and including even if the private sector or the lab, it's good to separate the two things. And also the coordinator of the project also, I think it's good to have a team of people working and not only everything on the shoulder of one person. It was a lot. So it's good to have really a team, someone dealing with day-to-day coordination or communication, standardization or database thing. So that's very important. The other thing is also, I think it's very important to take into account, the needs and also the interests of people from the tropical country where we still have, a lot of illegal activity going on. So we need really to bring the technology or the network to the people and listen to their concern and have them also involved. So it's we did have it during the first phase. We have a regional workshop, but we were not really able, to implement all of the very good ideas that we gather from the region. So I think it's time now really to find a way to bring more people involved, the technology to the field. This is the first line of defense. The illegal logging is happening in the tropics, so I think it's good to allow people to use the technology directly in the field, than just to maybe send a sample to develop a country before to have them tested,
Marius, you mentioned the regional workshops. There'll be a regional workshop in Cameroon soon. How do you see a facilitating and capacity building role for GTTN in Africa?
Yeah, thank you very much for this question. It's very important. During the first phase of GTTN that I was coordinating, I was based in Malaysia. So, and now I'm relocated in Cameroon for almost more than a year now. And Central Africa, is the second largest tropical rainforest in the world. So most of the timber from Africa is coming from the Congo Basin region. And there is really the need for the technique. I mean, by now everybody knows about the timber tracking technologies, and they are feeling the pressure, with the LECI Act or the European Timber Regulation, to do this due diligence. So people want information. Where can we have those tests done? Is it possible to do it here? We should. So because they are feeling the pressure from the operators, at least in Europe, who need to prove, before they put the timber in the market in Europe, that they have done their due diligence. It's coming from the good sources. So they also want, but it's almost impossible to do it in the region. So I think it's very important to have a reference lab based in the region that can easily accessible, and can be used by anyone interested. So this is something really I'm very committed also to work in this area now. So most of the people, they know me before I was coordinating GTTN. They know I'm now based in Cameroon at Biodiversity. I'm getting information every day. Oh, so is it possible to do these those tests here? Where so this is there is a need. So we really need to find a way to involve people. Of course, it will involve, you know, having some kind of lab facility, providing a lot of training and having things done in the field. So those are yeah, important things we need to think about.